detail, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week. So let's waste no time. I don't owe no one. They want from me. It seems like the more stories I come about, the more problems I see. PFG, POPPA, let's get to it. No info for the story number 1. Tracking Trump's failures and accomplishments in his 4 years. The Atlantic has a piece tracking the president's failures and accomplishments in his 4 years. The article goes in detail highlighting some key talking points in a hyped but failed state when it comes to his foreign affairs. The article talks about relationships with China, North Korea, Russia, and the Middle East while revealing two sides of the coin when referring to Trump mania. Now, what's mysterious about the article is how it centers around denial and on both ends of what some believe has been a successful run for Trump, but many top analysts are clear that the Trump presidency has been a failure. So there's just two ends of the stick on this. Now, this story is still developing because the majority of the stories surrounding this president's time in office are revealing what many may not want to believe, but only time will tell how all this irons out. So there's a lot going on inside of analyzing the Trump administration's 4 years. Now, what Trump's base may be pointing out may not reflect what's ahead in the future of foreign affairs. The big positive in Trump's time in office is that the article points out how he has revealed the true world order, but it concludes with the revelation of what most political activists already knew. Now, one important question inside of this article by The Atlantic is if Trump has a plan for a vision that he laid out in his 1980s book, The Art of the Deal. After such a hard read reflecting on Trump's legacy, there is one more question inside of all this, and is, where do we go from here? So keep an eye on this developing story. Story number 2. New data in on the Affordable Care Act. As Trump aims to take down the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, new data in shows that the premiums have been declining for 3 years in a row. The Trump administration is taking credit for this decline, there's a lot of debating going on between who's the man in the White House, which president is the best, who can get the job done. Who's been getting the job done? I mean, everybody's riding the Trump wave, Obama wave, all over the place. Joe Biden, everybody wants to be a fan of the man in the White House. The Trump administration is taking credit for all of this. Some other people say, no, it's Obama. Now, since 2018, premiums have declined by 8%. 11.4 million people sign up for coverage, which is down from a high of 12.7 million in 2016. Now, open enrollment starts November 1st and ends December 15th, and 12 states, including Pennsylvania and New Jersey, plan on leaving healthcare.gov and starting their own health exchanges. So there's a lot going on inside the healthcare saga. It was evident that the Obama administration made it a mandate that people get health insurance. So it was, if it got passed through his administration, you can see how critical the healthcare problem and the healthcare woes are in America. Keep an eye on story number 2. That's why I made it this week. Story number 3. Are we witnessing the end of cunning business tactics or the beginning of a tangled, complex business climate? Clientele, services, taxes, accounting, all the things that come along with businesses and people finding loopholes. Big tech business tactics are taking center stage as Google is being blamed for abusing its monopoly, or when you talk about the search engine market. Now, Google is being accused of boxing out and gobbling up the competition. Such tactics are well known in the business culture when referring to the United States and capitalism. This is where it is not uncommon to see a company move a business across the street from another competing company, the competition. Now, the sad part about this developing story is the fact that other countries are complaining about the same tactics used by Google in their country. Now, you have to ask yourself, where could Google have got these tactics from? Or where did all of a sudden people learn how to flip dollars from China to the United States to get very, very wealthy? Or how did all of a sudden most companies start going overseas for cheap labor? All of this is why story number 3 made it in this week. Now, Google is fighting the claim and saying that the company has no control over what people like or choose. That means that if you're the big fish in the pond, you can't control it, that everybody wants to catch you or get a taste of that good meat that you provide. Story number 3, big headline, big developing news story. Story number 4. The U.S. system is critical when observing how other countries adapt to foreign affairs. America. Finding loopholes in the United States system is not uncommon even in foreign affairs, according to some circulating article, especially when you have to deal with spies. Now, a Russian intelligence operations group of 6 who were linked to the 2016 election hacking will be charged in a global hacking sting. This is just one of many emerging stories about how other countries have found ways to manipulate the American system. United States, the American way. Russia is also offering to freeze its nuclear arsenal to extend its arms treaty deal with the United States, leaving a lot of questions on how people are getting their way and how people are making offers to the United States that they can't refuse. A pair of Russian bombers were intercepted by 2 U.S. F-22s near Alaska. This is a story that is still developing as so many people across the world wonder how people get information and how this information gets leaked to the masses. So this story is still developing. Well, those are our top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. I'll be right back with the top 4 other stories that made it in. So don't go anywhere. You're on the Mediator with me, Brian West. I'll be right back. If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. And go to the website. It's method8inc.com. Method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. So let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 5. What younger Americans feel about America could impact the next election. One Cambridge study shows that most millennials don't like democracy. The article says that this dislike is not only tied to America, but other countries as well. The main reason seems to be because of economic circumstances. The study points out a significant gap in wealth between the younger and older generations, and that could be why there's a dislike from the new generation. P. Diddy plans to launch a black political party aimed at black voters. P. Diddy is the man who came with "I don't know what they want from me, it's like the one you think about." Ronald Reagan's son says that Donald Trump's kids are not qualified for their roles in the White House. Another big developing story, and that's why story number 5 made it in this week. Younger America is changing and stepping up, but can the older generation allow it, keep up, and afford it? Big headline, big developing news story. Story number 6. Where are we headed with COVID-19 still hanging around? Dr. Fauci and many other health professionals say that the next 6 to 12 weeks could be the darkest of all inside of the pandemic, especially if states can't afford to pay for a vaccine if it's found. Dr. Fauci and Donald Trump plan to allow free distribution if a vaccine is found to nursing homes. But what made multiple headlines is after Trump called him an idiot, the story leaked and later broadcast on multiple national television stations. So a lot going on in the the battle of the White House. The BBC reports that COVID-19 cases are rising across the United States, which is not good news, as people really are desperate just to get back to normal. COVID-19 has caused a number of college students also to drop out, according to a USA Today report, which is not good with people investing in themselves and also having to pay the money back when you drop out. Big headline. Aid is slowing down and poverty is reportedly on the rise inside of the battle to defeat COVID-19. This is another big developing story. France reported more than 30,000 new COVID-19 infections. A lot going on inside of story number 6. You can see why it made it in this week. Nonprofits are very worried as they are also being caught in the crosshairs of COVID-19 as Americans are cutting back on donations during the COVID-19 wrath. Story number 6 almost made it into the top 2 this week. Big headline, big developing news story. Story number 7 in the top 2 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Have public servants made their role in office their meal ticket? Have they been getting wealthy off of the American people while serving in office? This is a big headline that's circulating. New questions emerge around how a lot of public servants, political figures, have become very wealthy, and that includes big-time political candidates. You got Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton. The list goes on and on. And then this really talks about how they've become wealthy from their roles in public office. Now, many have tripled their wealth. They have tripled their wealth in comparison to taxpayers, and some have large financial ties with other countries. Multiple stories surrounding, like I said, Joe Biden and his sons are also circulating about the family's financial ties with other countries. This is a big story that caught my attention, and some people are talking about this right now. Now, in light of public servants getting wealthy from public office, the U.S. layoffs remain elevated at 898,000. Those are people seeking jobless aid. So if there is something going on and there's something brewing in democracy, this could be it, because money plays a big part in capitalism, and if people don't have money, they will find a way to get it. Story number 7, that's why I made it to the top 2 this week. It almost made it to the top. Big headline, big developing news story. Story number 8 in the top international headline and developing news story that made it this week. You would be surprised at who gets and got rich off of the drug trade. I'll say that again. Who gets and got rich off of the drug trade. Oh, and I forgot. Voting remains a top concern. From Delano Roosevelt to many other prominent entertainment figures and a large amount of ultra-wealthy Americans, present, past, and probably future, the drug business has made a lot of people wealthy and famous. The branches grow from a tree rooted in Mexico, China, and many other places around the globe, and could even be rooted right in your very own community. Mexico's ex-minister is even being charged with drug trafficking. Now, as the drug killing goes on and the bodies from overdoses and painkiller use continue to pile up, each dealer has left a trail of evidence that many must now follow, and some are just too afraid to follow, and some are even just unaware that this is even going on and could be probably afraid to stop it. It's that big. The drug business has grown that much. Now, one report claims that this has been going on for a long, ever since the discovery of what that plant could do to the imagination. That's how big this story is. Another headline, one report claims that the Postal Service is being accused of falsifying delivery information to boost performance stats, according to a report by Fox News. Now, this ties into voting, and was actually happening on the other end. And I forgot. The voting process. Absentee ballots were reportedly found in a Kentucky dumpster. The report says that more than 100 undelivered ballots were found. And let me say that once again. Oh, and I forget. Voting remains a top concern. The DEA confirms a record-breaking meth bust in California. So while there's drug things going on and while everybody is still thinking there's business as usual, there are things happening under the radar. I'll say it one more time, and oh, I forgot. Voting remains a top concern. The CDC reported a rise in overdose deaths in the fight to defeat COVID-19. Drugs are a problem, and the more people continue to vote these candidates in, these candidates, they're responsible for making the laws. They're responsible for the checks that the police force makes. They're responsible for the cabinet that the presidents and all local officials choose. Your vote counts, and that's why I will say this one more time. Oh, voting remains a top concern, because what you allow to go on, and you may question at the end of the night, why is this happening? It's because you allow it to happen as a citizen. And we have to empower ourselves. That's why I come in here every week to give you the top 8 headlines in developing news stories. I've been a victim. I've seen family members who have been a victim of victims of drug use. The stories go on and on. But someday we have to get up and we have to do something, and we have to make a change. So keep an eye on story number 8. That's why I made it to the top this week. It outdid all the other stories because I've seen so many people affected by the drug business, the drug problem. Big headline, big developing news stories. But those are our top 8 local headlines and international headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. As usual, I'd like to thank all the news outlets, the people on the front lines. You deserve all the credit. I'm just the man in the middle, the mediator. So if you want to show some support, all you have to do is visit our website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or to sponsor a program. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope you got something out of today's program. I am out of here. We're going to take a break, come back and do it all over again next week to keep you informed with the top 8 headlines, local and international. So have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Mediator with me, Brian West. Peace.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.